As a Capricorn, you have probably been misunderstood time and time again as someone who is too boring, too restrictive, too serious, too detached, and too much of a workaholic. But you may or may not know that you are not necessarily here to be liked. You are here to be respected. And the reason a lot of people misunderstand you is because you live your life from a perspective that most people are not going to be able to understand. You live from a perspective that allows you to be the goal achiever and the legacy builder of the zodiac. Hola, my beautiful dreamers. Welcome back or welcome to my channel. My name is Marisa LaBlue, and on this channel, we merge everything cosmic advice with everything self-development to become our dream selves every day. If that sounds like something you're interested in, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell. You can also follow me on social media platforms for more background, lifestyle, and astrology content, as well as download my free astrology cheat sheet or check out my other astrology guides that are available in the link below. Today's video is all about having the sun in Capricorn, and what this means is at the time that you were born, the sun was moving through Capricorn. It is not the same as Capricorn moon, risings, Venus, Mars, etc. I have videos on all those if you'd like to watch, and they will be linked below. But we'll start the video with an introduction to the sun in astrology, because understanding the sun itself will help you understand your sun sign so much better and allow you to move forward with it more positively in life. Then we'll talk about some of the general traits of somebody who has a Capricorn sun. We'll finish the video with a couple empowering tips, because I don't just like to drop the information on you. I like to try and give you actionable ways to use the information that will hopefully allow you to empower yourself and live your life more fulfilled and happy according to your sun sign. First, let's talk about what the sun means in astrology. The sun is one of the two luminaries in astrology that are considered one of the 9 planets in astrology that shape who we are. The sun is considered the planet of our individual identity and the ego self. The placement of the sun in our birth chart governs our identity as an individual, what makes us unique and separates us from everyone else. The symbol of the sun actually showcases this, as the circle itself represents infinity and everything being intertwined, whereas the dot in the middle represents the separate self. It is through our sun sign that we're able to uncover our personal identity, who we truly are at our core, without the influence of anything or anyone else. It indicates where we find our sense of personal power, purpose, and overall direction in life. The sun gives life, so the sun sign is what gives us life, what makes us feel fulfilled, and what makes us glow. The sun is literally where we derive our life force energy. Now, for the general traits of somebody who has a Capricorn sun. It's important to remember that Capricorn is the cardinal earth sign ruled by Saturn and symbolized by the sea goat. Number 1. Capricorn's vitality is often directly tied to building a legacy of their own, something that lasts. Capricorn rules over the 10th house in astrology, and the 10th house represents the highest point in the sky, called the midheaven. For others in astrology that are not naturally connected to the 10th house like Capricorn, this can be seen as a difficult height to reach. But for Capricorn, Capricorn is well positioned for any kind of dominance, hierarchy, or legacy building, because they are directly connected to this house, the house of career, social reputation, and purpose. Although they call you the legacy builders of the zodiac, I don't want us to get too tied up on the legacy part of this. Really, what this entails, in my opinion, is not necessarily that you're going to just build some crazy generational wealth, even though if there was a sign that was going to do it, I would vote you guys as number 1 most likely to do it. But that is not necessarily the case. Legacy building can look like so many things in your life, and really what this means is that you like to place yourself in a position where you are always connected to a long-term purpose of some kind. The 10th house in the midheaven house is often seen as the house of career and social reputation, but if we go deeper than that and really what's driving that career and that social reputation, we could say that it's purpose. So I like to refer to it more so as the house of greater purpose, of something that serves a legacy or serves something larger than ourselves. And a lot of times that turns into monetization in some way. Capricorns are heavily connected to this energy. So Most likely, whatever decisions you make in your life are heavily connected to something monetary, something that you want a monetary return from, but it has to be connected to something greater. It can't just be that you want quick money, quick cash, like a gamble, for example. Whereas a mutable sign might want more of a gamble energy and an instant gratification, and this can cause them to get distracted from the larger picture. You are a 10th house energy naturally. The idea of getting to the top of the mountain gives you purpose. So many times Capricorn suns end up in positions of authority naturally, whether it's the manager somewhere, whether it's the leader of a group, of an organization, maybe they even channel this as a social media creator, whatever the case may be, they naturally tend to position themselves in places where they are not only going to drive a greater purpose, but they love to feel like they're standing at the top of a mountain. And you could say that they never feel like they're at the top of the mountain. This is something that can be maybe a lifelong pursuit, and that could be a shadow expression of this energy, perhaps where you never quite recognize that you are at the top of the mountain or you have achieved something that you once prayed for. However, you cannot see that you're at the top of the mountain. All you can see is the next obstacle that you want to climb and traverse. And this gives you immense power to be the goal achiever of the zodiac. But we just want to make sure we're stopping to recognize where we have achieved only what we once imagined. Another fun tidbit about being connected to the 10th house is that Capricorn often has kind of a royal energy to them. And if you're a Capricorn watching this, that's like, I don't dress royal, I don't act royal, I'm introverted, like, okay, again, let's not get too hung up on the royal thing. But what I mean by this is that you hold yourself with a standard and a respect that a lot of people don't. And even if you struggle to exert this standard and respect, you struggle with boundaries of some kind, or maybe you are a people-pleasing Capricorn, you still have a certain standard and respect inherent to yourself. Whether you are actually exerting that outward or not, you are probably heavily tied to it. And if you are not actually exerting it and expressing it and living your life according to it, then that probably leads to you grappling with a lot of difficult emotions around your interactions with others, or maybe not feeling like you're living up to your potential in some way. Overall, you hold yourself with a more royal energy, like you know that you're at the top of the social food chain inherently, even if you're not living your life that way. And it's because you don't just want the position of royalty necessarily, you don't just want to be at the top of the mountain, but you want the respect that comes with it. You value that level of respect that comes with holding that position. But like I said, if you're a people-pleasing Capricorn, this might actually be the shadow expression of that, where you're overly focused on external validation and you think that anyone liking you or being at the top comes automatically with receiving external validation and pleasing others in that way. And again, this will cause probably a really difficult discrepancy between who you know you are and the type of life you want to lead and the type of life you're actually leading. You may be thinking, why am I at the top? Or why do I feel like I've achieved this royal position, but I don't feel like I have any respect, and I feel like I'm constantly degrading myself to be here. And that's because you may be in a people-pleasing mentality where you are searching for status and external validation only. Number 2, Capricorn suns are built for endurance. You gain strength through challenge, pressure, and time. Capricorn is ruled by Saturn, the planet of discipline, restriction, time, karma, and is connected to Kronos. And if you don't know the story of Kronos, I highly recommend you look it up so you can understand your sun sign even better, because you are heavily ruled by the Saturnian energy, and Saturnian themes will show up heavily in your life if you're a Capricorn. The reason it's so important to be aware of this Saturn energy in your life is because it connects you to a lot of difficult karmic loops in your own lifetime. This may feel like constant work cycles, ongoing challenges, and it may feel like nothing comes easy to you. Everything just feels like it has to be difficult. And even though you love traversing the mountain, you love overcoming the terrain that's in front of you to get to where you want to be, you may grow tired. Like, it's inevitably going to be tiring to do so. That Saturn energy is really what makes you feel like nothing comes easy. However, something that is magical about this is that if nothing comes easy to you, You are built different. Okay, you are built so different from the rest because you have these Saturnian themes in your life. It's similar to Scorpio, where Scorpio is always going to be connected to the theme of rebirth via Pluto and the eighth house. So, because of that, their constant mission is to not wallow in the ashes of another transformation, but to transmute the ashes into becoming the phoenix and truly living through that rebirth. And the phoenix is so beautiful. It is one of people's favorite, most revered mythological creatures. You are similar in that way, where Saturn is going to inevitably bring cycles to you that feel challenging and tiring. And it's going to feel like, why can't I have it easy like that other person? Because you are not meant to be built like that person. Someone who has everything handed easily to them faces a totally different type of karmic challenge than what you're meant to face. If everything is handed too easily to you, then you grow too soft, too docile, too lazy in order to make anything happen, and that becomes their personal challenge. So don't look to others to think, why does everything come so difficult to me? Your difficulties, they're not there for no reason. Not only are they there to strengthen you, as awful as that might sound, but a lot of times they're usually connected to a deeper purpose. If you're the type of Capricorn that feels like you work so hard and you can't help but work so hard, but you feel a bit lost on why you're doing it and the purpose behind it, a lot of times the Saturn loops that you're experiencing and the Saturn challenges that show up in your life are trying to signal to you something that you are meant to do with your life. Like if you're a Capricorn, for example, that deals with a really difficult autoimmune disease, this could be pointing you to the type of business or the type of purpose or both that you're supposed to live. Maybe it's a purpose behind helping others navigate this autoimmune disease because you are the one that's able to actually apply structure to something that doesn't have structure. So whereas someone who is maybe not the same as you, maybe a Pisces, okay, that deals with an autoimmune disease, they might just become really sad and not really be adept at organization in a way that allows them to build routines and habits and not even knowing where to begin when it comes to helping themselves live a more fulfilled life as someone with this autoimmune difficulty. Whereas you are the type of person who is more naturally equipped, because it's just you as a Capricorn, to actually build something and share the habits, routines, and implement something, maybe coach people to help them through that. This is just one example, but there can be a whole array of examples. Number 3, Capricorn suns often face many themes and lessons around patience and what patience allows them to build. Capricorn is one of the 3 earth signs, and as an earth sign, they're often more focused on the material reality, stability, and long-term security. They're naturally resource conscious and quite strategic with money and energy in the physical plane. Because of this connection to what is made tangible in the physical realm, being an earth sign, Capricorns often associate a level of control and security in their lives with how much control they feel they have over their resources. Most people refer to Capricorn as a frugal, restricted energy, but actually, I've met quite a few Capricorns that spend a lot of money. But what's funny about this is if they're a Capricorn that is more on the frugal end, and if they're a Capricorn that's more on the indulgent spender end, it stems from the same place. Both want to feel like they're in control of their resources, especially their money specifically. And both give them a feeling of control. You have the frugal Capricorn, which might over restrict themselves and deny themselves of a lot of pleasures and become a bit too obsessive about it in order to feel like they have control. And this can be fear-based too. It can be a fear of losing their position at the top of the mountain. They don't want to lose what they feel like they've gained or what they've worked so hard for or whatever the case may be. And so they just stay in this tight, restrictive energy with their resources. Or you have the one that is a lot more indulgent with their money. Say it's a Capricorn that's not even in a position to be spending that much financially. It might actually be because they're not in a very abundant financial situation at the moment that they have a spending spree because it makes them feel like they do have control over their finances. Like, see, I can buy this and I can do that. And Capricorns also always want to appear in control and like they're doing well, whether it's through how they dress, how they carry themselves, or what other people see that they have. They just want to look like they have it together, but they also want to feel like they have it together. And whether they're being frugal or indulgent, both can feed that energy of feeling like they have it together. I would argue that this heavily depends on the other placements in the chart, which path they take. Regardless, though, most of the time they value the practical over the impulsive. So even if they're an indulgent spender, it's usually not going to be on something that they see as pointless. It's going to be on something that is very meaningful to them and adds something to their life. Everything has to be deemed worthy of their resources. And when I talk about resources, right now I'm using the example of money, but we also have time. So going back to the Saturn influence, Capricorn is heavily tied into the concept of time. If you've ever met a Capricorn or you are a Capricorn yourself watching this, you are probably heavily connected to time and you do not waste time. Earth signs in general don't like to waste time. Again, they're connected to the material plane heavily. But Capricorn especially wants to move with as much efficiency with their time as possible, and they will not dedicate their time, which they consider the most valuable resource, to places that they don't think deserve it. Because of this, there can come a difficulty with opening up emotionally and maybe building more vulnerable relationships, because you may be so focused on, okay, I need to allocate this resource here and that resource there. You're very focused on the material resources via time, energy, money, etc., that you grow distant or you isolate yourself, maybe unintentionally, from people, from relationships, from things that actually do matter and do feed your heart, your soul, and your purpose. So just be aware of becoming overly rigid and overly material focused. Just recognize that you may be so resource conscious that it actually allows you to restrict your life in ways that you may not have realized you were restricting your life. Number 4. Capricorns may encounter that when they try to rush anything or be impulsive, things often go awry for them and they are forced to return to the drawing board. Capricorn is one of the cardinal signs, and cardinal signs are known for being the natural leaders and initiators that move the needle through courageous action. This often comes with the assumption that these are the type that can grab the reins and carry out their will through perseverance and ambition alone. Although that is often true in its own way, Capricorn is a very different cardinal sign because their connection to the 10th house and Saturn tie them directly to time once again, specifically slow-moving, lengthy time. Think ancient structures, monoliths that are still standing to this day that we don't quite understand how they're even possible. Capricorn is capable of doing that type of building, whether it be career, legacy, relationship, etc. But ancient monoliths and architectural anomalies could only be built through long-lasting perseverance, resilience, and patience. Because of this, Capricorns may find this weird phenomenon where if they try to rush anything or actually be impulsive, say they get tired of being patient, say they get tired of living in the same loop, say that they're moving out of fear because they're watching their resources drain as they speak, they might decide, they might have moments in time where they go, you know what, screw it. And then they let themselves be impulsive and reckless because they're like, it worked for that person. And the person that they're referring to is an Aries, unbeknownst to them, which often does well with reckless and impulsive decisions. Not that they never pay the price for that, but that tends to be their magic. Capricorn's magic is very much through their ability to be connected to the long term in every way. But whatever they build has the strongest roots and the strongest foundation that is truly unshakable because it can last the test of time. And this can only be built through that slow-moving patience and perseverance. When Capricorns try to be impulsive, if they ever do, they'll find that they probably face the repercussions of that and have to start from square one all over again. And this may connect you back to those karmic loops we were talking about a few traits ago. And that is important to recognize. If it is your own behavior, your own rejection of the journey that you're supposed to endure and go through, that may throw you back into this loop. Take pride in the fact that if there is any sign that I had to say was the one to build the monoliths and the ancient structures that are still standing to this day, it would be Capricorn. Also have faith and confidence in your ability to age like fine wine. And I'm not talking about physically, I'm talking about whatever you do gets better with time. As long as you're willing to persevere, endure, stay patient, and navigate whatever comes your way, everything you do is literally like wine. And wine's taste and value is heavily determined by how deep the roots of the wine go and what terrains the wine has to grow through in order to thrive on the surface. And that is very much representative of Capricorn's journey. Number 5, Capricorn suns are much more spiritually and emotionally intuitive than given credit for. Capricorn's symbol is often known as the goat, but actually, their traditional symbol is the sea goat, which is a half goat, half serpent that represents their ability to navigate both the depths and the heights of life. The goat represents their ability to climb to the top of the mountain. The fishtail signifies their emotional depth and the unseen waters that they have to navigate, often in private. There's an unspoken loneliness that a lot of Capricorns encounter, and because they are built with such the strength and the pride that they have in navigating the terrains, and they often take pride in being the leader, being the authority, they don't often leave a lot of room for anyone to see the emotional depths that they have to navigate to get there, because we cannot pretend that navigating to the top and reaching the height of the mountaintop and always wanting to live at the peak will not get lonely, because it will. And Capricorn, oftentimes, the reason they're able to get to that peak in the first place is not just because they're a goat that's able to climb the steepest mountain ever. It's also because they are able to navigate waters by themselves, and it's often hidden. Most people don't see the serpent tail that they have. So most people will never see the hidden waters that Capricorn navigates, often of their own will. Usually Capricorn is hiding it and doesn't want to put it on display because that's just the way that they are. But what many people see you as is someone who is just persevering and a workaholic. What they don't see is the deeper reason that you're doing all of this. And oftentimes it's connected to a sense of duty where you know that you cannot be ignorant. You are incapable of being ignorant and just veering off of the path and being irresponsible. You're a sign that's heavily connected to responsibility, but more so than responsibility, sense of duty. You have a deep sense of duty as a Capricorn to build something, whether it be for the people that matter to you, whether it be for future generations, whether it be for monetary gain. You need to build something that matters, so it gives you duty and integrity to follow. This often comes from being overly aware, overly emotionally and energetically aware. It's not unlikely that you were maybe, say you were in a household and you had a few siblings. You may have been the sibling that was able to detect what was going on with everybody and knew because of that what the household needed. So you may have taken it upon yourself to carry that weight, the weight of what everyone needed, and make it happen, because you're the type to maybe think, I know that, they're not capable, or like they're not going to do it, so I have to do it because I have to take care of it, or I have to take care of them, or especially if someone matters to you, you will go to the ends of the earth. You will go to the peak of the highest mountain in the highest stratosphere in order to make sure that it is taken care of. You naturally take that upon yourself. And that's a type of wisdom and strength that I don't see really anyone talk about with Capricorn suns. And if you're a Capricorn sun and you relate to this, please let me know below, or your own experience with it. I'm very curious. This is something that I feel I've picked up on, but especially with the sea goat symbol, it's an interesting theme to navigate with Capricorn suns. Not only does the sense of duty come from your emotional and energetic awareness of the other people around you, especially those that you love, but this is also what connects you back to your own inner spiritual and intuitive wisdom. Because in order, again, to navigate the highest peaks of the tallest mountain and actually get there, you have to have a level of wisdom and spiritual intuition that others don't. Because what do a lot of spiritual tests entail? Whether you're reading spiritual tests in the Bible or you're reading it in some other religious text, a lot of it requires challenging the body, which therefore challenges the mind and the spirit, and therefore fortifies it, such as fasting. Fasting is a great example. It's something that certain people do to stay closer to their spiritual intuition and their spiritual voice, because it removes the worldly side of the spiritual connection, and it allows you to be stripped bare, and therefore refortifies your spirit with strength that is unbreakable, because that strength is not connected to anything worldly or material. Capricorn is often heavily connected to that energy. That is truly what allows them to navigate the peaks. It's not just their physical build as a goat, or it's not just their physical build as a sea goat that they're able to navigate the deepest waters and the highest mountain peaks. You have to be mentally, spiritually, emotionally fortified in order to do that, in order to reach those peaks. But the shadow side of what this may have turned into is an undeniable I'll do it myself mentality that further isolates yourself and kind of distances the people that do matter to you or the things that do matter to you. You put them as far away from yourself as possible. You actually push them away. Even though what you may be doing might be for them, it doesn't matter because you turn into an I'll do it myself mentality. And this can, again, distance you from a lot of the things that matter in your life and lead you to having a colder disposition, which you can feel and might lead to you feeling empty or lost. Now, for a couple empowering tips, if you are a Capricorn Sun or know somebody who is. Number 1. Don't let your drive to succeed become your detriment. As a Capricorn Sun that has so much perseverance and fortified strength like we talked about, you might have a tendency to hold things with a death grip that need to be released. You're not here to just prove that you can climb the highest peaks. You are here to feel fulfilled in what you do. Again, the 10th house is not just connected to your social achievement, reputation, and career. It is connected to the purpose that drives you to have that career and that social reputation. So you need to constantly ask yourself at every point in your journey, am I actively taking the steps to build something meaningful to me? Or am I just trying to build something that is impressive from the outside looking in? Like, am I just trying to prove something for external validation? Or am I just living a goal that I think I'm supposed to live because of others in my life? Maybe you have a family that has projected their desires for what they want you to achieve onto you. And because you're a Capricorn, you take that to heart and then you go after it, but then you find yourself empty and lost as time goes on because you are not doing something that is connected to your purpose. Your power as a Capricorn Sun and your ability to achieve greatly amplifies when you are not just connected to the concept of what success is from the outside looking in, and you're not just focused on status or achievement on a surface level. It's when you are actually in alignment and the status and achievement that you go after is in alignment with your spirit. Number 2, embrace your inner paradox of being practical yet energetically wise. Emotional self-care for a Capricorn is a must, especially in your private time with yourself. Oftentimes, a Capricorn Sun may spend a lot of their private time indulging in things in the material world and or just working. Okay, just working on whatever it is behind the scenes. You're rarely ever taking care of yourself emotionally, truly. And a lot of that comes from never actually feeling satisfied with the journey that you're on and what you have achieved. I know we talked about this a little bit earlier in the video, but it can very much be an isolating and emotionally challenging difficulty that you'll face as a Capricorn because you are always looking to the next goal, the next milestone, the next achievement. And if you're not careful, you're never actually sitting with what you have to be grateful for or what you have now that you may have only hoped for in the past or you did work so hard for and now you have it. Oftentimes, if something emotionally triggers you, rather than sitting with it and taking care of it, even on your own time in private, it's likely you'll just instead dive deeper into your external pursuits and ignore the trigger or suppress it or feel like you're transmuting it into external pursuits. And even though there is power in getting the ball rolling by transmuting our anger, our sadness, or whatever it may be, you don't want to always be in that mode where you never ever sit with your emotions. And because you're so connected to time and you don't want to waste your time, you may actually think that slowing down for a second and allowing yourself to cry or to really process what you're feeling might be a waste of time. You're like, why would I do that when I can just use that as fuel to feed into this endeavor that I'm working on or to prove that I didn't need that person and they can't hurt me? That may feel good in the moment, but I think you'll find that some of the emotional difficulties you face are definitely connected to that habit if you have made that a habit. It's healthy for you to practice emotional presence and openness through mindful movement, especially because Capricorn rules the skeletal system and the skin, which often ties you to a lot of stiffness and potential problems with the joints. Stress will only amplify this, which your hardworking spirit is definitely prone to. So lymphatic drainage is key as well. Focus on lymphatic drainage, mindful movement, and making sure that you are regularly stretching. You need to have a regular stretching routine because the way that you take care of your physical body is also an investment in the future that you're building. Because you're a sign that can be so prone to stress and you can throw the weight of everything onto your shoulders, it is even more important. And this is something that can really help move that emotional energy that you may have been suppressing through your body in a physical way. And again, you're an earth sign, so you're heavily connected to the physical. So take care of your physical vessel in order to invest in your future. If you're a Capricorn sun or know someone who is, don't forget to leave a comment down below and tell me about your experience, because I'm always a student. I love to learn from your experience as well. But also don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you don't miss future videos like this one. But until I see you next time, thank you so much for being here. I am eternally grateful for you. Adios.